I still remember the day my friend Eleanor, who had just turned 78, found herself gasping for air after climbing a short flight of stairs at the local community center. We were on our way to a pottery class she'd been looking forward to all week, but the moment she reached the top step, she had to grip the handrail just to steady herself. It wasn't just a momentary shortness of breath, it was a stark reminder that her lungs weren't as strong as they used to be. She told me later how frightened she felt, realizing that something as simple as climbing stairs could leave her feeling so helpless. In that instant, she began to fear losing her cherished independence, worried she might not be able to keep doing activities that brought her joy. If you've ever felt that pang of anxiety when you can't catch your breath, whether it's walking around the block, having a spirited conversation with your grandchildren, or simply carrying groceries into the house, you're not alone. Breathing is something we often take for granted, right up until the moment it becomes a struggle. And for those of us who are in our 60s, 70s, or beyond, reduced lung capacity can happen so gradually that it's easy to ignore until it becomes a daily limitation. That slow, sneaky decline in our ability to draw a full breath doesn't just sap our energy, it can silently undermine our entire well-being. The worst part is, if we continue to overlook our lung health, we risk losing our mobility, our vitality, and even our sense of confidence in everyday life. The good news is that there are concrete steps you can take, practical, proven methods, to turn the tide and strengthen your lungs, no matter your age. Over the next few minutes, we're going to explore 5 essential strategies that can transform how you breathe, how much stamina you have, and ultimately how much you get out of every day. And be sure to stay with me until the end, because the 5th strategy is one that hardly anyone talks about, yet it could completely change your ability to breathe deeply and freely. Doctors and specialists are finally recognizing that many traditional recommendations for senior lung health only scratch the surface. There's an entire layer of overlooked wisdom, powerful insights that can dramatically improve your breathing capacity. In my years of talking with seniors who've surpassed 90 with vibrant energy, I've seen that stronger lungs aren't just about luck or genetics. They're often the result of small, consistent changes that stack up over time. Before we dive into the first of these 5 life-changing approaches, I want to quickly welcome you here. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing so right now and make sure to turn on notifications. That way, you'll stay in the loop whenever we share new insights and tips that can help you live your happiest, healthiest life. And if at any point you find these ideas valuable, type a quick one in the comments. If you disagree or want something clearer, type 0 so I know what's working for you and what's not. Your feedback helps me tailor future content to your specific needs. Now let's take a closer look at how you can reclaim the full power of your lungs, starting with a surprising misconception most people have been taught for decades. The first crucial insight might sound a bit bold, but stick with me. You might be astonished by how many seniors are actually weakening their lungs by trying too hard to fill them up. It's time to discover why less can sometimes be more when it comes to breathing, and how a simple shift can revitalize your lung capacity beyond what you thought possible. Have you ever been told to take a big, deep breath anytime you feel anxious or short of breath? We've all heard this advice, and it's often handed out as an all-purpose remedy. But there's a hidden catch. Forcing a massive inhale, especially when you're already struggling to breathe, can lead to a shallow, inefficient form of breathing that doesn't actually supply your lungs with more oxygen. Instead, it can create tension in the chest and neck muscles, causing an unproductive cycle of gasping. Consider Margaret, age 80, who'd been instructed by well-meaning family members and even a fitness instructor to take deeper breaths whenever she felt winded. She tried so hard she'd end up with her shoulders practically touching her ears. Her neck would tense, and despite these big gulps of air, she felt more breathless. The misconception here is that bigger is automatically better. The surprising truth is that many of us need to practice the art of a slower, more controlled inhale, one that engages the diaphragm and allows our ribs to gently expand outward without straining. A simple phrase to remember is, breathe from the belly, not from the shoulders. This might sound simplistic, but it's a game changer. Instead of heaving your chest up and down, try placing one hand on your stomach and the other on your chest. Inhale slowly through your nose, feeling your belly rise before your chest does. Then exhale gently through pursed lips, like you're blowing out a candle. Notice the difference in how much calmer your body feels. You can even do this sitting down, focusing on that gentle belly expansion. Margaret gave it a try after learning that overfilling her lungs in a fast, forceful way was backfiring. Within a month of daily practice, just 5 minutes every morning and evening, she realized she wasn't gasping for air during her walks. She could chat with her neighbor without pausing to catch her breath. Emotionally, she felt an uplifting sense of control. Her lungs were no longer dictating her pace. She was in charge. By transitioning from frantic chest breathing to a measured diaphragm focus, she had literally and figuratively taken a load off her shoulders. A key takeaway is that you don't need to cram your lungs full of air. You just need to let them fill properly. The benefit extends beyond oxygen intake. It also lowers stress hormones, helps regulate heart rate, and can even improve posture over time. If you've ever felt your shoulders creeping up or your chest tightening during a stressful moment, try this slower, gentler approach. It's like giving your lungs a chance to unfold naturally instead of forcing them into uncomfortable positions. And that can be your daily reminder. Less force, more flow. Now let's talk about another common belief that might be holding you back. The assumption that you're doing everything right just by staying indoors on days when the air quality outside isn't great. It might surprise you, but indoor air can sometimes be more polluted than outside air, especially if it's not well ventilated. We'll explore how to keep your indoor environment lung-friendly. But before we move on, I'd love a quick favor. If you're finding these insights helpful so far, please leave a 2 in the comments section to let me know you're still with me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, consider doing that now so you won't miss the other tips coming up next. Let's move on to the reality of indoor air. Many seniors think staying inside is automatically healthier for their lungs, especially if they live in a city or an area prone to smog. But here's the bold truth. Enclosed spaces can trap pollutants, from cleaning chemicals to cooking fumes to dust mites, creating a hidden, swirling cocktail of lung irritants. Betty, 72, learned this the hard way when she developed a persistent cough that baffled her. Doctors suspected environmental triggers, but found no obvious culprits in her day-to-day routine. She wasn't a smoker. She lived in a quiet suburb with relatively clean air, and she wasn't exposed to industrial pollution. Finally, a specialist asked about her cleaning products. It turned out Betty was using powerful chemical sprays to keep her home spotless, and she rarely opened her windows because she assumed fresh air in her neighborhood wasn't all that fresh. The problem was that these chemical residues stayed locked in her home, constantly irritating her lungs. The surprising insight is that an obsessively clean home can still be harmful if the cleaning involves harsh products, inadequate ventilation, and a misunderstanding of what truly clean air entails. Before we get to the solution, let's address a common misconception. Many people believe air fresheners are healthy because they mask odors with pleasant scents. The reality is that these products can release volatile organic compounds, VOCs, that irritate the airways, particularly in seniors who may already be dealing with lower lung capacity. The solution? Opt for simpler, fragrance-free cleaners and keep your home well ventilated. Even if you're just cracking a window for 15 minutes in the morning, that small action can help cycle out stale air and bring in new oxygen. If the outdoors have pollutants like pollen or seasonal allergens, you can use a basic window filter or an indoor air purifier. The key is to balance fresh air intake while minimizing irritants. One powerful metaphor here is to think of your home as a big lungs. Just like your own lungs, your house needs to exhale toxins and inhale clean air. If you seal it up too tightly with closed windows and rely on synthetic sprays to freshen the space, you're basically forcing your own lungs to process a concentrated dose of those chemicals. The stakes are high. Chronic inhalation of irritants can lead to persistent coughing, wheezing, and even infections that take longer to heal. But by keeping it simple, natural cleaning solutions like vinegar and baking soda, along with regular ventilation, you create an environment that truly supports healthier breathing. Betty was astonished when she replaced her chemical-laden products with milder alternatives. Her cough began to subside within weeks, and she felt a sense of relief she hadn't experienced in months. Emotionally, it was a breakthrough. She realized she could take charge of her environment in a way she never had before. A simple strategy you can start right now is to walk through each room of your home and identify the strongest chemical odors. Is it the laundry room with heavily scented detergents? The kitchen with powerful degreasers? The bathroom with bleach-based cleaners? Swap them out, ventilate more often, and watch your lungs thank you for it. Think of it as turning your home into a safe haven for your respiratory system. Clean air, clear lungs. Before we move forward to our next strategy, one that involves a simple physical activity that might sound too mild to make a difference, I want to pause for a moment to check in. If you're still following along and you find these tips valuable, please comment 4 below. And of course, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Your engagement and feedback help keep this community thriving, and it lets me know that content like this matters to you. Now, have you ever believed that working your lungs out means you need to engage in vigorous aerobic exercise like jogging or intense cardio classes? Many seniors assume that to truly strengthen their lungs, they have to push themselves hard. But this misconception can lead to burnout, injuries, and feelings of discouragement when you can't maintain a high-intensity routine. The surprising truth is that gentle, low-intensity movements combined with focused breathing can yield tremendous benefits. John, 75, epitomized this challenge. Determined to boost his lung capacity, he started power walking daily. Initially, he felt invigorated, but soon he was plagued by knee pain, hip soreness, and breathlessness that made him doubt his efforts. He started skipping walks, ultimately reverting to a sedentary lifestyle. Then he discovered a practice that changed everything: restorative yoga, specifically designed for seniors. It might sound like an odd match, yoga and lung health, but consider this. Yoga emphasizes controlled breathing, mindful movement, and proper alignment. These gentle stretches open up the chest area, allowing the diaphragm to move freely and increasing lung expansion over time. The biggest misconception John had was that yoga would be too slow or easy. He pictured people just sitting cross-legged and humming, but he soon realized the stretches and poses were working muscles he didn't even know he had. Most importantly, every pose is linked with mindful breathing. Slowly expanding into warrior pose or child's pose taught him to coordinate breath and movement. This harmony between lungs and muscles can be incredibly powerful, especially if you've spent years breathing shallowly. A phrase that captures this point well is, move gently, breathe fully. By slowing down and paying attention to each breath, you give your lungs time to expand and contract without sudden stress. The result? Over a few months, John noticed he could walk longer distances without gasping for air. His joints also became more flexible, and he found a renewed sense of confidence. The emotional payoff was enormous. Instead of dreading exercise, he looked forward to his gentle yoga sessions, seeing them as a soothing, life-affirming practice rather than a grueling chore. If you're curious about trying this, start with simple chair yoga routines that incorporate slow, deliberate stretches and breathwork. Even seated spinal twists can help open up the intercostal muscles between the ribs, improving your lung capacity. If yoga doesn't appeal to you, consider Tai Chi or water aerobics, any low-impact activity that encourages graceful, rhythmic movement. The goal is to sync your breath with your body, allowing each inhalation and exhalation to flow in harmony with your motions. Imagine your body like a musical instrument. If you press all the keys too forcefully, you end up with a jarring, out-of-tune sound. But if you glide gently across them with precision, you produce a melody. Gentle exercise combined with focused breathing is that melody for your lungs, helping them resonate with strength rather than straining in discord. Over time, this approach can even help reduce inflammation, improve circulation, and relieve stress, all of which circle back to supporting healthier lungs. Now shifting to an entirely different angle. Many people focus only on exercise and environment when thinking about lung health, but there's a hidden factor that often goes overlooked: nutrition. Before we explore the nutritional angle, let's look at a different side of your life that can drastically influence your respiratory strength: your emotional well-being. Yes, stress and anxiety can literally take your breath away. That's coming up next. There's a tendency to think that worry and anxiety are all in our heads, but your body perceives them in a very tangible way, especially your lungs. Panic attacks and prolonged stress can lead to hyperventilation or shallow breathing, which sets off a cascade of physical effects: dizziness, headaches, or just feeling wiped out. One of the most common misconceptions is that you can simply talk yourself out of feeling stressed, but stress often lodges itself in the body, particularly around the chest and diaphragm. Consider Harold, 79, who after losing his wife of 50 years, found himself battling waves of grief and anxiety. He never tied his emotional state to his breathing, but his doctor noticed he was constantly short of breath. Through a support group, Harold learned about mindful breathing techniques, an approach that merges mental calmness with slow, deliberate breaths. By setting aside just 10 minutes in the morning and evening to sit quietly, close his eyes, and focus on each inhale and exhale, he found not only emotional relief, but a physical easing of the tightness in his chest. The transformative insight was that his emotional burdens were literally constricting his lungs. There's a slogan that sums it up nicely: calmer mind, clearer lungs. It might sound like an oversimplification, but the biology behind it is straightforward. Stress hormones cause your muscles to tense, constricting the chest and making breathing labored. By taking steps to manage stress, through meditation, journaling, gentle stretching, or talking with a counselor, you're giving your lungs room to do their job without interference. The emotional benefit of this can be profound. Harold described feeling like his chest was finally free from an invisible clamp. He realized that while he couldn't change the loss he experienced, he could influence how it lived inside his body. A simple strategy you can try is a daily box breathing exercise. Breathe in for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and hold for 4 again. This technique is often taught to people in high-stress jobs like first responders because it's so effective at reducing tension. And if you think you don't have time, remember it only takes a couple of minutes and you can do it while sitting in your favorite armchair or lying in bed at night. But calming your nerves is only part of the puzzle. Up next, we're going to talk about something that might surprise you: the foods you eat and how they can either fan the flames of inflammation or help you breathe easier. This final point is often overlooked, yet it can be the deciding factor in how much lung capacity you maintain well into your 80s and beyond. Stay with me, because this is where we dive into that hidden secret very few people talk about, and it could be a game changer for your everyday well-being. Let's delve into nutrition. Many seniors assume that good lung health is solely about avoiding smoking and staying away from pollution. While those are crucial elements, there's a hidden truth. Certain nutrients can significantly bolster your lungs' resilience against irritants and infections. The common misconception is that all vitamins and minerals offer the same generalized benefits. In reality, some are especially potent for respiratory wellness. Meet Clara, age 76, who noticed she was catching colds and respiratory infections far more often than she used to. She chalked it up to getting older, but she also felt constantly run down, like her lungs were never fully recovered even after she got better. After working with a nutrition-oriented practitioner, Clara discovered she was low in a few key micronutrients that help the immune system function optimally, particularly vitamin C, D, and certain antioxidants like beta-carotene. By focusing her diet on colorful fruits and vegetables, think deep red tomatoes, bright orange carrots, and dark green spinach, plus taking a high-quality vitamin D supplement, she noticed a dramatic shift. Her infections became less frequent, and her lungs felt lighter, as she described it. The surprising insight here is that your lungs are exposed to more outside air than almost any other part of your body, making them susceptible to toxins, pathogens, and irritants. If you're deficient in the nutrients that help cells repair damage or fight off invaders, your respiratory system weakens faster. Think of your lungs like a fortress wall. Without the right building materials, the bricks and mortar of vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, the wall can develop cracks, letting in all sorts of trouble. A useful slogan is, feed your lungs to fuel your life. Good nutrition is more than just eating well overall. It's about consciously choosing foods that support lung repair and immunity. Citrus fruits like oranges and grapefruits are rich in vitamin C, which aids in collagen production necessary for healthy tissues. Leafy greens, carrots, and squash provide beta-carotene, known to help combat oxidative stress in the lungs. Fatty fish like salmon can contribute anti-inflammatory omega-3 fatty acids. Even simple dietary additions, like a daily cup of green tea, may offer antioxidant benefits that protect lung cells. Of course, some might object, I can't make drastic changes to my diet, or I don't like vegetables. But incremental steps can have a big impact. Start by adding one serving of a brightly colored vegetable to your lunch or dinner, or replace a sugary snack with a piece of fruit. If you find it difficult to get enough variety in your meals, consider a basic, doctor-approved multivitamin or specialized supplements for seniors. Just remember that supplements are meant to support, not replace, a balanced diet. Clara wasn't a big vegetable lover, but she found that blending spinach, cucumber, and a small apple into a smoothie masked the taste of the greens. Over time, as she noticed how much better she felt, she became more adventurous. Now she regularly experiments with different salads, stir-fries, and baked vegetable dishes. Her sense of pride and accomplishment in nurturing her lungs made a surprising emotional difference. She saw herself as an active participant in her health, not a passive bystander. Imagine waking up each morning feeling clear-headed and energized, taking a deep breath of air without hesitation. That's the promise of paying careful attention to what you put on your plate. There's real urgency in this too. Neglecting your nutritional needs can accelerate lung decline, robbing you of the vitality you could otherwise sustain. The goal isn't to become a perfect eater overnight. It's to gradually fortify your lungs with the nutrients they need to stay strong and functional. By now, you've discovered 5 transformative approaches to enhancing your lung health. We started with the idea that forcing huge gulps of air can actually be counterproductive, then explored the hidden dangers of poor indoor air quality. We learned how gentle exercise like restorative yoga can do wonders for your lung capacity, and we uncovered how emotional well-being plays a direct role in how freely we can breathe. Finally, we discussed a topic often overlooked, nutrition, and how feeding your lungs the right way can be the deciding factor in whether you continue to thrive well into your golden years. Take a moment to reflect on which of these 5 strategies resonated with you the most. Picture your own life if you truly applied these insights. Could you climb stairs with more confidence? Enjoy a laughter-filled conversation with your grandkids without pausing to catch your breath? Perhaps even plan a trip or pick up a hobby you once thought was beyond your capabilities. It's important to recognize that these strategies aren't just nice-to-haves. They can dramatically alter the trajectory of your health in the coming years. Life has a way of moving quickly, and every day you delay taking action is another day your lungs could be weakening, a process that might be barely noticeable now, but could lead to bigger hurdles down the road. On the flip side, embracing these methods today can create positive momentum. Instead of feeling held back, you'll begin to realize that age is just a number when you have the right tools and habits in place. I encourage you to personalize this journey. Maybe you'll begin by spending just 5 minutes each morning practicing gentle belly breathing, or by cracking open a window for a few minutes to let fresh air circulate. Or perhaps you'll start by experimenting with a new vegetable-rich recipe. Small steps add up quickly when you're consistent. You might jot down a quick journal entry each evening, noting how your breath feels and any improvements you notice. In a few weeks or months, you could look back and see just how far you've come. Now I have a favor to ask. Let us know in the comments which strategy spoke to you the most and how you plan to incorporate it. Was it the idea of less force, more flow in breathing techniques? Or the concept of maintaining a clean air, clear lungs environment at home? Or perhaps you're drawn to the idea of move gently, breathe fully, exploring yoga or Tai Chi. Your insights matter and could inspire someone else who's on the fence about making changes in their life. If you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a like and sharing it with your friends or family members who might benefit from these tips. And if you haven't done so yet, subscribe and turn on notifications. It's a small action that makes a huge difference in helping us continue to create this kind of content. We're here to support and guide you, but ultimately, the power to change is in your hands. Remember, age isn't a barrier to stronger lungs. It's the perfect opportunity to harness these techniques and live with a renewed sense of hope and vitality. You deserve to breathe fully, laugh loudly, and move freely. I'm grateful you spent this time with me, and I'm looking forward to seeing your progress. Keep taking those small steps toward better lung health. You'd be amazed at how quickly they can lead to big transformations in the way you feel each and every day. Thank you for watching, and here's to a future filled with fresh, life-giving breaths.